Hello, this is Don Hall at Don Hall Works YouTube channel, and I'm with John Reiger here in Sacramento, California, who likes to throw in a kick wheel, and he's going to talk to us about it and show us how it works.
Okay. Hello, I'm John Reiger, a professional potter for the last 50 years. Been working on my kick wheel for that entire time. Throwing a pot on a kick wheel is, at the beginning, not much different than using any other kind of wheel. You just have to get it centered. There's a natural flow to a kick wheel where it goes fast at the beginning when you're centering, and then it starts to slow down a little bit as you're starting to get the shape going. I'm using a Lockerbie, which is the Cadillac of kick wheels, I believe. It has a very nice heavy flywheel that lets me have a lot of motion each time kicking. As I said, it's not much different from throwing on any other kind of wheel. You just have to center the clay, get things started. You need to kick every so often to get the wheel going, or keep the wheel going.
What's the most weight that you normally throw on here?
Well, these days, considering my age and declining ability, I'm usually restricting myself to less than 3 pounds. Right now, I'm just working with about 1.25 pounds for a mug. As you can see, the wheel has a lot of energy that keeps going. You know, I started using a kick wheel a long time ago. Well, that's how I learned, was on a kick wheel a long time ago. And when I started doing things on my own, I had a kick wheel that was an old handmade one. A fellow made it himself with a truck flywheel. And I kept using it for a while until I got this Lockerbie. You'll notice that I haven't had to do very much kicking on this. It just keeps going. Now I'm getting ready to refine the shape a little bit. At this point, the wheel will probably start to slow down a little bit, which is good. Now, like many of you, I have a mirror where I can look at the mirror and it shows me the shape of my pot without having to bend my neck all the time. I must say, though, that 50 years of kicking on a kick wheel has had some effect on my body. I'm 81 now and starting to have back problems, a typical problem for potters. Probably aggravated a little bit by the kick wheel. One of the things I like to do is, you can see that there's a little bit of extra clay down here at the bottom that sweeps out. And I'm going to bring out the bottom of the pot a little bit to use up some of that clay. That way I don't have to trim off so much excess. And as a working potter, it's important to use all the clay, cut down on scrap. And I also like to give the lip a little bit of definition on my pots. But there it is. The throwing process is not much different from regular powered wheel that you might be using. When I was in school, I learned how to pull handles. I'm sure most of you have learned that trick. It's kind of a slick trick, nice sort of parlor trick in a way. But you end up with a wet handle that you have to wait to try to fit the pot that's waiting for you. So I don't do it that way. I make a handle that looks like a pulled handle, but is ready to go right on the pot as it is. And you just need some clay, roll out a little carrot, that's tapered, of course, just like a pulled handle would be. Get a nice taper on it. Then just a stick. Wood is best because it doesn't adhere to the clay. Impress the stick. About a 1/2 inch usually works. 1/2 inch dowel. You've got a handle, it's ready to go. Doesn't need to be dried. Now you got your handle ready to go. I like to score it a little bit and decide where you're going to put it on the pot. Score that a bit. Of course, add a little bit of slip in there. And just attach it as you normally would, smoothing everything down so that it looks good. Looks like it grows organically out of the pot. Now, in order to figure out where to put the bottom of the handle, you can try and set it someplace that looks good. Then I move it over to my mirror and I discover that it's off-centered. So I'm looking at it in the mirror to make sure that the handle is going to be in the right vertical position. Now your placement is never going to be perfect because the pot is going to twist a little bit in the firing and everything. But the customers or your friends and family aren't going to notice that, so don't worry about it. Once again, I like to give it a little bit of extra encouragement down at the bottom so that it sticks. A little extra slip down there. Slide that in. Frankly, all the pressure on a handle, the strength of the handle needs to be up at the top, not at the bottom. So you don't need to worry too much about firm attachment at the bottom. Of course, you don't want it to come loose, but all the strength that you need is up here because that's where the pressure is. Now, I also like to add a little bit of extra cement, so to speak, in there. And I do one more thing to my handles. I give them a little thumbprint at the top. I just roll out a little piece of clay. And insert it at the top up here, giving it a little thumbprint. that also provides a little extra strength to the handle, a little more surface area to make sure that the handle is strong enough. And there you go. A handle that's not pulled, ready to go on the pot as you need it. You don't have to do anything in advance to try out your handles. Just when your pot's ready, make a handle and you're ready to go.
Well, thanks, John. That was really interesting. You are one of a kind throwing on the kick wheel, I think.
Well, especially for 50 years. I don't know. I'm sure there are other people out there doing it, but I don't run into them very often, and people are kind of amazed when I tell them I'm working on a kick wheel. But it works.
Yeah, it certainly does. Your work is beautiful.
Thank you.
And thanks for doing this video for us.
Happy to, Don.